Hello, hello. It's me, I'm here. Hi, Beef. Welcome, welcome. Thank you again for the raid yesterday. I did not know how to handle that, but it's very exciting. Thank you. How are you doing today? Glad to hear it. Okay. So, now it's alright. I didn't actually stream for super long after that in the end. I had to go out with my family. It was like, wrap up the stream. So, annoyingly, Expedition 33 has kind of ruined everything. Because this is the original hair I designed for this character. And now I have to be like, that's not gonna work anymore. So, I don't really know what to do. I'm just gonna color pick a base tone and hope it functions, I guess. Like, I'm a bit annoyed about the whole thing. In a way, because it's like, you kind of ruin auburn-haired female protagonists in a fantasy game forever. Thanks, Sandfall. But blondes, maybe a bit contrived. You don't get a lot of blonde. You get Zelda. See, this is a problem, right? Female protagonist in a fantasy game. Yes, there is. Between Expedition 33, Legend of Zelda, I guess, like... I could go with what the original design kind of was. Way back in the day, which was just... black hair. I finally recolored the eyes. I'm pretty happy with the teal. I think they stand out. I'm actually keeping the purple in the end as well, by the way. I like the purple too much now. So black hair isn't actually black. So let's do like that. And then... no. See, part of the problem is... oh, maybe I go the other way. Maybe I don't go auburn. Maybe I go, like, properly... red. So, it's Celtic inspired. So brown is possible. But yeah, but I'm also like, why not go full, like, orange, red, flame tone? Auburn's a nice colour, and not too extreme? I guess is the way to put it. But maybe I do need to just go for the full-on. Proper Scotland. I'm just using a website called Peloton right now. I can't really get it up on stream, but you'll see the result shortly. Which is so we have purple. Oh, wait, really? That's the... Oh, I should have thought of that, really. Okay, I'll explain what I'm surprised over in 1 second. This essentially is the color scheme it would recommend. This thing. That's a tetrad color scheme, so a split complementary, as it's more commonly known in art. Which is weird. Yeah. Because the green, I always forget the green is part of this tetrad. It actually really weirds me out. I'm always like, yeah, it will be... Because you don't have to do the yellowy gold, right? It can be orange and... It actually probably means what I should do for this tartan is... dark green. It's actually too bright, so I'm going to desat it quite a lot. That's still too bright. That's better. I could make this tartan... This is the worst way to go about trying that out, frankly. Where is it here? It's not on this layer. Okay, it's kind of on this layer. I'll take it. Let's see if this green works, I guess. That's... that's a lot. Which is sort of expected, actually. Let's tone it down again. A few steps, shall we? Okay. That's actually not terrible. But then, of course, this isn't actually the color scheme either, so that's like a weird duality there. But then it is tartan, so... I'm going to use this for it. That's so trippy to me. It looks purple. That's so weird. No, I think it's the other way. I think... if I'm gonna do patterning, it will have to be in... the green. And then we can accompany that in the way that you do with tartan, with like a... and I need to like properly devise a pattern if I want to do this, but that's a different conversation for another time. But like that could be not atrocious. Honestly, I just need a picture of a good tartan for this. I don't love that. I might use my own tartan, family tartan for that. Yeah, see, now this is actually really nice tartan. I'm gonna grab this one. This is the modern one, I think. Yeah, I think this is the modern one. Which, let's have a look. Okay, we're just gonna cut some strips out of this. The nice thing about tartan is it tessellates. So you can take any strip of it and it just works, right? That's the... I'm going to take this and I'm going to mesh transform it. It's a bit imperfect, but... just make that even less so I can actually see the edges I'm trying to clip off. It kind of works, to be honest. Yeah, it was fun. It was a like little Christmas thingy with some people. Basically, just ate and chatted, and then came back. But it was nice. It's always nice to have. My brother's back from abroad. He also damaged himself, so that was funny. He's actually gone for an MRI scan today, which will hopefully be fine. The fool. But it's good to have him back for Christmas. That may not have happened at one point, which would have been sad for everybody. Even if he is a bit of a donkey for getting hurt. I don't know. His was silly though. He was dancing at a nightclub in Colombia. So he kind of got... He dislocated his whole kneecap. And I don't really understand how you do that on a nightclub dance floor. It's just quite impressive, to be honest. A little odd. Quite a story to tell in future, I suppose. Well, I hope he was. At least if he was having fun, it's kind of okay, right? Yeah, he's a bit of a fool sometimes. He has a first from Cambridge, and yet gets up to some of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen, including losing his passport and nearly didn't make it back because he couldn't find it. He actually missed his flight for it. I'm not sure he does have just high charisma. He's very convincing. I think that's his power. And an annoyingly good memory for academia. Ugh, gross. Okay, let's put that back on and see what we get. Something about that weirds me out. Probably because I didn't draw this line properly in the first place. Yes, that would be it. Int, maybe? At best? Okay, so that's slightly weird, but it sort of works. I'll sort the dynamics of that later. Yeah, because I realise in retrospect it's just because the actual thing is not properly drawn, but that's a different problem. Constitution. I get ill so easily, it's really annoying. I wish it was less easily, in fact. What about you, Beef? It's not a bad dump stat to have. Full cleric build, it sounds like. Suitable for a bartender, for an inn, I think. Although it means you won't be able to do all the fancy cocktail mixing. Good Minotaur stats, though. Okay, there we go. Ah, I'm a fool. That was not a there we go. Overlapping little companion piece. There is a reason for this. Ah, bust. So, the problem I have with the way I was originally doing it is the pattern was too wide. By quite a lot. So then it looks like it's a different weight of cloth. So the goal here is to bring it back so that now the weave is always the same size, basically. Rather than one of them randomly being significantly bigger a piece of tartan than the other. There we go. It's not perfect, but it's nearly there. I feel like it's valuable to have established the tartany bit. I think that actually gives me a much better grasp of what the color tone is for the whole piece, right? Like, I think this gives me a much clearer idea of, like, yeah, this is kind of where I'm going. More so than the color grid, the palette. Because I think this gives me a color palette to work with now. Strangely. I actually quite... I like the tartan that I'm using a lot, which then means that I can work the other colors around it. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. Heck it, it'll be fine. Yeah, not so fine. Okay, I'm gonna undo what I just did. I did merge visible by accident, which was not my finest moment. Never merge visible if you can help it. I don't know what layer that thing's on. It's actually very entertaining visually. Okay, let's make a correction layer. Whee! Okay, remove some of the silliness. There we go. Eek. Oh god, is that for your VTuber? The one reason I haven't made my own VTuber and I've commissioned it someone, well, one of the reasons. Not the only reason, but one of the main reasons is that the idea of the layer structure required for a VTuber terrifies me. Terrifies me, my god. Yeah, have all the respect, because you're a maniac. Oh, I'm so frustrated because I don't want it to look like Expedition 33. Why? Stupid game. Yeah, I get you. It's also too similar a time period. Oof. Well, at least once you're done with that, you can move on, right? Like, that's nice. Color selection is the hardest. Hallelujah! Are you enjoying the process of making your VTuber? I guess that's the key question. Is it something you're actively enjoying the process of? I mean, we could do the proper Celtic thing, right? Nice. That's always such a good feeling. I wasn't happy with this when I first did it months ago, and now I feel good about it is just the best feeling. Let's sort it this way. So actually, wait, I did a more detailed design for this hair, I just don't know where I put it. There. Okay. I'm not a great lover of drawing hair, generally. For a variety of reasons, but one of them being it just takes forever and it's really boring. Yeah, I'm going to try the red, and then I'm also going to try the bleach blonde, because traditionally Celts, particularly British Celts, English Celts, would they would dye their hair with lime, like lime as in limestone. They bleach their hair and then spike it up before a fight. At least according to the Romans. As far as we know, that's how they did it. And I've always thought that was just kind of cool. So part of me is like, let's try it. Let's see how she looks with like super bleached hair for a second. The woven plait. Several of them, because I think that's fun. Also gives the hair some nice like visual interest. And it's going to give me places to put magically themed decorations and things. Yeah, one of the big things is like trying to find space to put them. It's quite the clothing in this, for this character, like the outfit, the design is really quite visually busy, particularly when I start adding patterning to the cloth as well, which I will do fairly soon. And so there's always part of me that's like, there's not really space. I'm obviously putting mystical symbology all over it, as I intended from the start, but there's part of me that's always a bit like, there's not a lot of space to add like a blatantly fun magical trinket for the player to engage with visually, right? Just to see and be like, yeah, you're in a slightly weird magic world, and it's very visibly displayed on a character. I'm going to use a weird example for this, which is it's not in any way a good example in some ways of a game for this kind of thing, but Genshin Impact does something super smart as a character design choice. I don't know about the rest of the Hoyo games. I know specifically for Genshin Impact, it does something really cool, which is people gain their powers from their visions. And that is a region-locked magical trinket that is very core to how each character functions, and they put it on the character model in very intelligent design-based ways that actually tell you quite a lot about the character by where it is. And I've always thought it was just so smart, honestly. Yeah. Because it's like, it doesn't matter, you know it's a Genshin character that you can see a vision, you know which region they're from, you know, kind of, like, it can tell you a huge amount of information, essentially for free. Like, it's a gift that it's giving you in terms of readability. Alright, I think that hair's actually starting to look okay. Needs to go to the line and a little over, but... I don't know if the strands stand out as much as I hoped, though. The plaits. Maybe I do need to stick something in them already. Oh, wait, why am I doing that? Wait, what layer are they on? It's on all of these layers, I see. And that's with the blonde. Which works better? Hmm. I'm actually something else I'm going to do. Yeah. Maybe the really vibrant green just works better, regardless of the hair color. Yeah, I think the green is better. Yeah. Part of me originally was like, I'll leave it, but actually... Hmm. Trying to think in progress of the game. If the hair as a whole is too vibrant, and then maybe what I actually need to do is go the other way, right? And then... Maybe it needs to be black. It's an interesting question. Okay, I don't think the black works. I don't think the grey hair works either. So that's good to know. Let's up our saturation and try brown. That's also an option. Yeah, I was just thinking that. Just that kind of tone's quite strong as well. Yeah. We'll go with that for now. I could always change it later. I might have to ask the team. I'm fine with the trousers. I need to finish this boot. Right, let's let's get back to the business side of it. I think you're right. I like to give my team decisions because although I am the game director and the art director and the lead concept artist, sometimes it's worth letting your team make choices rather than just arbitrarily deciding how the project you're all working on is going to look without them. You know? It's a theory I have that it's nice for people to be included at all stages of the decision-making process. Even if that's not entirely true and I'm still doing most of it. Oh yeah, that's what this is for. This is the main character. Wait, I wasn't telling people what this was for. Oh well, this is the main character of the game I'm developing with my studio. This is version 6. I've never really been happy with the previous designs, so I finally got to this one. And I'm feeling pretty good about this one. This is the first one where I've done all of the work instead of it being another concept artist working on chunks of it, so I slightly went, fine, I'll do it myself. About the character. This is where it got me. It was actually, for the longest time, it was like I was having to finish the designs that other people in the team were starting and just being like, why did I let them do this in the first place? It's just not right. And that's not entirely fair because like some of the concept work my team have done has been super cool. Some of them made some really interesting things for the game so far, but the couple of people I've had work on this character before just never quite got it. And I'm very much a VFX concept artist in training, so it was always like, well, I prefer to leave characters to people that love characters. Particularly because the whole point of the studio is partly like taking new developers with no experience and being like, yeah, here's a bunch of experience. Does that work nicely? I think it does. Having the second boot be armored as well. So yeah, it was all about like, yeah, build your portfolio up, get some experience, and then go work at a cool studio. Like that was the plan for, is still the plan for basically all of my team. Even if I've turned out to be the cool studio, I hope one day. But what that's always meant is it was always like, well, I want to make sure you are, as team members, getting the most out of this that you feel you should be. And so that's meant like, okay, you want to be a character artist, well, design a character. And I'm not fussed about character art, so I'm always happy to leave that. But this has to be done now, and it has to be correct. And no one has done both of those things yet, so now I'm doing it. Ooh, nice. UI design is super fun. I did a mock-up. I have a friend of mine outsourced a lot of that work to, essentially, because UI is beyond me. Always has been a little bit beyond me. But UI is cool stuff. It's such an important part of a game as well. If you're capable of doing it, that's such a good skill to have. As a sort of, my thing was always spell designing. Yeah, I designed VFX for spells, which is helpful for this game as well. Well, just VFX generally, I guess, was my specialty in game studios. I did a lot of freelance work for a whole bunch of cool people. Definitely a really interesting job. Concept art is a lot of fun as a career. If you get the right company, that is. You've got to choose well. I've worked for some less than friendly companies that I regret taking the deal with. So I'm going to put filigree on this armor as well. But I haven't decided what kind of pattern just yet. Yeah, I'm sure over the next few months I'll start sharing more game stuff as well. As we get through to, like, we're hopefully going to go to Kickstarter sometime next year. Should be pretty cool, and I'll definitely start sharing stuff then, because I'll be like, here's the cool thing I work on. I get that feeling. But if it's something that interests you, definitely do it, because game design is a very joyous job. Game studios are a great place to work. Again, if you get the right one and you're doing something you enjoy. I would always recommend it to people. Which I don't do for all of the jobs I've done, so. Thank you, thank you. That's what the that's what this is for. And this. These will hopefully, before too long, be actual spells in an actual game that people can use. This one's in production at the moment. It's super fun. Yeah, my sincere hope is always just that we create something that people genuinely connect with in a way that matters to them. Like, it's something that brings people joy. I think that's the core goal of any, or should be the core goal of any good game. And getting it to that point is a huge trial, but I really hope we do. That's my one real goal with it. It's a bloody ambitious project, though. It's such an ambitious game I've designed. Just gotta get through. That's why I've gotta work on things like this all the time. Actually, do I feel comfortable taking it away? I think I do. I think we can take away the line work. That's the most exciting moment anyone will ever have in an art piece, is getting to take away your line work for a second. See, this is the difference. My line work is shocking. But I get to take it away after I've rendered, and therefore all is well in the world. Maybe I don't hate that knee joint anymore. Huh. How times change. Oh yeah, I need to do the book. Whoops. I also need to like actually render all of this metal, but that's a different problem. Okay. The question is, like, do I want to put some kind of cool not work engraved filigree across everything like that? Maybe just across the knee joint, actually. I have a plan for this knee joint then, maybe. let's kind of do it. So, down, triangle. So I should really do on another layer this actually.
I see them living out their lives, but I don't understand how little they can care about their folks sometimes. These words get deep, they creep and crawl under my skin. If I belong, here is belonging worth the price won't pay. It takes a toll, it doesn't reason. Then do we linger on the lessons from those who we have lost?
I just want to see if that kind of thing would work. I think it would. I think it needs to be on a new layer, but I think that would function.
Show no restraint, now I'm scared that my actions will push you away. I taste the bitter, I sense the greed upon their hands, with their gloves that are only taking off to abuse you. I hear them laughing, I hear them shopping.
Okay, I need to kind of get straight in my brain what I want to sort first. I think the first thing I'm going to do is the epaulette. There's an order to these things. I'm going to basically go through and photo texture a bunch of stuff now. Things that are reasonable for me to add photographic textures to for the purposes of speeding up. Clarity, essentially.
Show no restraint, I'm scared that my actions will push you away.
Maybe I'll leave the epaulets because I can't find a side-on image. It's very annoying. I don't want to spend too much time getting photos for PhotoBridge. Maybe I'll move on to the next thing. I will, because I don't want to spend too much time on the street looking for photos for the photo bashing process. Not because I can't, but because it's boring. So let's do... What is it with Google's autocorrect nowadays? I don't want grey furniture, I want grey fur. Jesus. Okay. I have not, and I do not want to, sir. An IKEA Ottoman does not do the job I require of it. As fabulous as they may be. I hope there wasn't anything important on that layer. There wasn't anything important on that layer. We're all fine. Doo-doo-doo. Right. Here we are. Graper. Hello. Welcome, welcome. How are you today? Let me actually put music back on. I don't want random music on now, but meh. um, You've caught me in the midst of photo bashing a ridiculous fur jacket. Peace. Yeah, just using photo textures so I don't have to lose my mind trying to draw it manually. Which honestly is always a distinct possibility. Never forget that the poor artists making things may lose their mind in the process. There we go. It's the corner down. Yeah, I know you would be. Doesn't surprise me. you would probably render each strand of this fur. Yeah, well, I'm doing alright. I think beef's okay. There we go. See, I rendered a tiny piece of it manually. Now you can't judge me anymore. That's how this works, right? So, the other part that's a bit ridiculous about me doing this with fur is it's not, like on a Cossack jacket they didn't use fur, they used wool. So the fact I'm doing this is slightly pointless anyway, because did I just say Cossack jacket when I meant Hussar jacket? Yes I did. Oh well, you knew the one I meant. Either way, the main point here being like, I was being mostly historically accurate with the design of this thing, but then there comes a point where I was just like, never mind. Historical accuracy is for weeks. For weeks? You move out for the week. There we go. Video game character doesn't need historical accuracy. Hahaha. It does need lighting. Oh, it needs one more. The fun part with photo bashing is you can just paint over it and no one cares. If they even notice. Which most of the time, no one does. There we go. Okay, am I actually happy with most of this? I think I am, so I'm going to controversially... Am I happy? Well, too late if I'm not. Yeah, I'll keep the head separate. The face separate in case I need to change it. Just realised I have completely forgotten to render this belt buckle, which is probably for the best, because I can just find a photo of one. Okay, next thing to render briefly is this jacket. It's actually not the right shape still. Probably needs to tuck in a little bit more at the waist. Maybe it's just this whole bit is too pronounced as well. Yeah, I think that's better. Let me get the darkest. Just around that line. how how much extra work are we talking here? That's valid. I knew someone once who did realism, and he would do people's arms, and he would genuinely like try and paint all the arm hairs. I was just like, why do you do this to yourself? This is too much. I feel that's quite a decision you've made, and I respect you for it. I don't know why I've done this with a soft brush. That's probably the most stupid part of this whole thing, I just realized. Never paint metal with a soft brush. I'm gonna have to redo it, probably, without the soft brush, because painting metal with a soft brush is dumb. Maybe I can salvage it. It's not perfect, but it looks mostly metallic, I feel. That would make life a lot easier, to be fair. Anime hair is an experience. I just realised oh well, I've gone over that gold brocade already, haven't I? You can just treat it as a solid mass. It's so funny to me. Anime hair. Okay, that shoulder is the worst part, and the rest of this is kind of a mess now. Oh, this rope that I've ruined. I might go back away. Oh, it's so far. This was dumb. You know, occasionally when you have that realization that you've royally screwed up something you were trying to do. And it's just like, why did I do this to myself? I might not be able to go far back enough as well. Which would really suck here. I can't. Is this the only place? Classic. Okay, I'll have to figure it out in a minute. Okay. Let's just sort that again quickly. I can re-render that super fast. Yeah, it's kind of fine. Okay, now I need to grab the aglet again, because I realized that I'd already photo bashed that in, and then I've now painted over it. Fortunately, the photo was not hard to find, nor was it that hard to shape in the first place. Yoink. Okay, there we go. Nice and easy. And then actually, while I'm here, let's grab a length of this cord. Is there a straight length of this cord anywhere? Guess that kind of counts. Okay. And then we'll manually go in and take this color, and this is the color that's going to go on the jacket. Hello, fluffers. Ooh, that's the wrong color. Do I like that for the jacket? No. No, I don't. We'll just leave that for now. I might figure out something like that later. Okay, let's use... idea. Let's use something fabulous. As they always do. Fluffers has 0 chill. Ooh, nice. Which soup did you choose for your break? It's a very important question. Ooh, tasty. Do you mean layer naming? Perspective. That's true. There's definitely one of those skills that will improve very rapidly with practice, I think. I don't know if I like that idea at all. Nah, it's not. Let's do... Gotta find the right terminology for the thing I'm looking for. Okay, some people need to understand the difference between Vikings and Celts. Crikey. Okay, we're gonna be a bit cheeky. A little bit bigger. This one, right? Yeah. Overlay. Delay below. Let's try multiple actually. Yeah, but with a lighter color. Leave it. Okay, now I want a leather belt. Find a good leather belt image for this. Ooh. Yeah, I'll take that. Okay, I found the right leather belt that I want. Good, I'm glad you like the buckle. I also like the buckle. Ooh. I don't know what the clapping's for. Ah! I have forgotten what all the buttons are. I am actually going to set up more. Once I've done this, I'm going to spend a good chunk of, I think, probably January. I'm going to make new emotes, set up proper sound alerts, some channel graphics, like all the fun stuff that I haven't done because I've been too busy with university and with this. But the plan is yeah, to have loads of fun buttons to press in the near future. And yeah, emotes, which I will draw because, as I said, I've commissioned my VTuber. I'm very excited about it. That's actually, Beef may have already been spoiled if he was paying attention earlier or yesterday. Both times when I accidentally spoiled my own secret. Yeah, that's kind of the plan. There'll be a bunch of fun stuff coming soon. Shh. He's a secret right now. An incredibly well kept secret, obviously, because I have done nothing but keep secrets incredibly well and haven't consistently accidentally flicked onto that that dog. I don't know what you're talking about. Okay, let's see if this one will work. No, that doesn't really work. No, no one has photos of the thing I want at the right angle. Which means I might have to do it manually. Oh no, wait. If in doubt, find people in cosplay. Works every time. In this case, though, we go for the step further, which is, if in doubt, find a picture of Liam O'Brien. Never! I could do it manually, but it would take too long. I have to finish this thing. Genuine question, which is worse? Is it the fact you know I could do it manually and choose not to? Or if it was someone who couldn't do it manually? Like, this is a conscious choice for me. It's also just like, at least for the purposes that I am doing this, there's no point. Right, all that's going to happen is I'm going to hand this off to a 3D modeler to 3D model it. So the more rapidly in proportion I can get everything, the better. Let's give that a nice dark red instead. I mean, at the end of the day, right, concept art is always just time and effort calculations. And in this case, the time and effort is never going to be worth it, right? That's just how it is. Like this bit I'll do manually. Well, that's because I know it's only going to take like 5 seconds to do the thing I need it to do, right? And then I can move on with it. It also annoys me that everything Celtic is Irish style. Because I'm also slightly like, I want pre-Roman British. Stop with all the post-Viking Irish. Okay, this is cool enough that I think I'm going to use it. On multiple levels. Actually. The funny part is this file probably isn't big enough for what I'm trying to do with it sometimes. Which means all of this stuff is just getting flattened into like tiny pixels with no detail. Okay. Wasn't quite what I planned for it originally, but I actually quite like the outcome. Okay, it's a slightly weird belt. To be honest, but yeah. Part of me is like, it's too much. Is probably the big thing. Yeah, part of me feels like it's just a little bit too detailed. And actually, I think probably the biggest thing is the belt itself. I think that belt doesn't work. What I think it needs is just a plain stretch of leather. finding a photo of a belt is actually quite hard. There we go. I think instead what it needs is just an old, quite worn belt piece. And then just take a brown tone. Okay, I think that works. I think that's much better. In the same way that I think what I'm going to do here. I'm just going to paint it out. Okay. I think that's better. There's another little thing I actually need to add here anyway. Because there needs to be like a pouch there, which will have the little... Let me just grab it while I'm thinking about it. Where am I looking? Concept art folder. I just need the top bit. Cool. Oh, they should be the other way actually. The lion head is a very specific thing, which I will set up properly in a second. But I can explain, I guess. So the lion head is the top of a health potion. And the character has to keep them on their belt. Then maybe I put it further around the back anyway, so actually I don't need it on the front. Yeah. Yeah, I think in retrospect, what I'll do is I'll have like the lion head here. And then the sort of pouch they're connected to can come... Pouch ring can come there. Ah, you don't quite sip them. They do something way cooler. Actually, wait, do I still just have the line? Yeah. Let me find it. The easiest way for me to explain is just to show the art, right? So. Let's do Robert. Should have maybe been a bit more controlled with that, but oh well. No, I'm just going to grab the concept art for you in a second to show you. Last treat before I end the stream, probably. This is where we're at today, by the way. As a whole, I think we're doing really well. The photo bashing does leave a slight, like, weirdness, I find. Okay. Oh, it won't let me screenshot properly. Oh my god, I hate my computer sometimes. Jesus. Okay, here we go. Health potions. So the way health potions work in this game, here they are. So they're these super high pressure, they've got these little piston in the bottom, and the lion head you can probably see has a seam. Basically the character cracks it forward, which releases the mist that sprays glowing liquid, which sinks into the skin to heal you. So it's kind of like a topical mist of a health potion. The way health potions work in the game, all healing magic works, is essentially increases your body's ability to heal rather than doing anything more than that. So it's not like you could regenerate a lost limb completely, but if you have the two pieces and you sort of like use some healing magic on them, possibly you can stick them back together and the body heals back together efficiently. But it does mean a lot of injuries are permanent. Like you get an injury that your body would never be able to heal even with lots of time, well, it's never healing, even with healing magic. So that's the cause and effect, the cost, I suppose, of healing magic. It doesn't do that. Yeah, I always forget, but the character needs to have 3 of these on their belt. Would you like to see the original version of this? Actually, maybe not. I might not show that, because it's kind of dumb. I need to find if this is now enough information for... I need to do the turnaround. Actually, I still need to do the turnaround, but... what I'm going to do is I'm now happy with everything here, I think. Yes. So they're going to get merged. And then we're going to copy and paste this. And then we're going to take a... ah, flip. I need the face. I actually don't need the face, but I should. Okay, give me a second. I'll have to find it. This isn't going to be exactly perfect, but would you like to see the secret trick to doing turnarounds? The secret trick to doing turnarounds. Some things will need to be corrected, but it's actually a shockingly effective methodology. Okay. Yeah. It just works. Always surprisingly well. Okay, so the original version... let's see if I've actually put it anywhere. I might not have a copy around. I don't think I do. Let me just... There's one more place I'll check, but I genuinely might not have a copy I can show you. Hmm? That one's actually important. Yeah, not that, not that, not that, not that. I'm going a long way back in my files for this. Okay. So this was the previous version that I thoroughly scrapped. Yeah, I'll just leave you with that one. I won't show the previous one. Yeah, they're all supposed to be on the androgynous scale. Yeah, here we are. And this was version 1 that I didn't love. For a lot of reasons, including the proportions not being correct. And them looking just like a boy. Which was like a double no. There we go. So yeah, so this was version 1. Which I then had to do a bunch of work to. Originally to like put it in human proportion. Etc. And then this was version 4 or 5, I think. This is where the idea of like the armored arm came from. The armored leg instead of just a leg brace. But A, this felt really generic and weird, and B, I just didn't like it that much, so I scrapped that, and then we're on to the current version. Which is, yeah, by far the most sophisticated, if nothing else. To be fair, this is the only one I've properly gone, like, I'm just gonna do actual concept art instead of sketching some ideas out. But I'm pretty happy with where we've ended up right now. Hopefully, for everyone, this is the most interesting version of the character I've presented so far. If it's not, I've messed up. No, no worries. I'm actually gonna just make this disc. The tiniest bit smaller. And actually, it isn't in quite the right place. A little bit higher. There we go. Which is far more of a pain than it really needed to be, I suppose. This is going to be a bit of a nightmare to fix. Blur. Yeah, I think the idea of it, in a way, is that it takes all of the things I thought were very good in the previous designs, and it amps them. And it takes away all the things I didn't like. Which is the purpose of iteration, I suppose, but still quite a long path to get here, of all places. There we go. Yeah, I think making that disc smaller has helped. Helped quite a lot. And I should just do... Okay, I'm still fiddling with some things. But some of the things I need to quickly sort are... Let's just do the ambient occlusion. Which helps a lot, really. A little bit there. Okay. Just a little bit of additional shading helps. Same with that, I'm going to apply like a dot there. And then just cut it all back out. Actually, maybe just ignore that one. Okay. So last things to do would be... Literally last things to do, I think, is... maybe I get rid of... I should paint this hand at some point. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like it. This is rendered as that hand's getting, apparently. Same here. Alright, I'm gonna stop here. Yeah, I'm gonna stop here for today. I feel like it's gone pretty well. This has been a long stream for me, but I think the outcome has been decent. So I'm happy. Thank you for hanging out with me. I really appreciate your company. Oh, I'm going to be back doing more of this tomorrow, so it's... I'm hopefully going to be sending this to a modeler tomorrow, so I need to finish all of the bits that are still not done. And then it goes. It is off into the wide world to be made, which is terrifying. I'm glad to hear it. I hope the rest of your layer and naming and cutting goes well, because we all know that is difficult. But you're doing a great job. Right, I'm going to raid somebody today. I haven't done that in a little while because I've been too tired. But I will see you next time. Thank you for hanging out. Bye-bye.